Hey Grande Alive, welcome to Coffee with Will, brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Grande Ronde Hospital, anything.digital.com, EONI, and Brite Dentistry. And I'm here today with Scott McConnell, who is the one of the co-owners of Side A Brewing, the new brew pub here in Grande, Oregon, and also an economics professor up at EOU. And he's here today to talk with us about beer and business and all other sorts of fun things that he is interested in right here in Grande. So thank you so much for joining me today, Scott.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about, just sort of briefly, how you came to be in Grande and doing the Side A venture?
Okay, well, it starts with the academic job market. I got my PhD in Kansas City, and I was on the job market and found that there was a job out here, out in the West, that was available at EOU, out in the boonies. I had been to Grande prior to this a few times. Actually, used to play music and stuff, and so I'd stopped here at other times and remember it being a beautiful place. But
it's all right.
Didn't remember. Yeah, exactly. So when I visited, I remembered how nice of a place it was, and
very cool.
Very nice, place to teach at EOU, and I had 4 offers, and I chose to come here partially to my wife's family's from Portland, so get us back close. We had our first child was born at that point, Fern, and so it'd be nice to get closer to the grandparents.
Your first child's name is Fern?
Fern.
That's a great name. I like that name a lot.
Yeah.
It's very, I take it's a girl.
Yeah.
That'd be a little weird.
You never know.
Seriously.
Yeah. And then Lillian's my other daughter. So
Lillian.
Yeah, my wife Alicia and I decided to move here to Grande. So
very cool. So how did you make the jump from teaching? So you taught at EOU. Then how did you make the jump from teaching at EOU to starting Side A Brewing?
Well, as we all remember, Mount Emily, the brew pub, was here for a while, and I saw that for 1 year, that my first year being here, and enjoyed the fact that there was a place for, they were brewing their own beer, and it was a place where families could go and bring children and enjoy a beer after work on Fridays. And it always hung with me that a place like that would be successful here in Grande again. So I just started kind of knocking on doors and figuring out what sort of buildings were available, talking to real estate agents. John Howard's agency helped out a little bit, talking to the city about various availabilities, and we found that the Firehouse was actually a space that they would be willing to do something with, because the Fire Museum wanted to have some form of partnership.
Now, Grande Alive, if you have not seen Side A Brewing, it is in the old Fire Museum, which was originally, from what I understand, the Side A Fire Station. So,
it was just the Eastern Oregon Fire Station.
Eastern Oregon Fire Station, but wasn't Side A a nickname for it?
Side A is actually something we dug up. No, it's not of that building.
Oh, okay.
We dug up the name Side A. It means the approach side of a building. When firefighters are approaching a fire, they refer to the first side as Side A for a reference point.
Well, there you go. This is why we do things live, so that he can correct me when I'm making a fool of myself right on camera. So if you haven't been in there, you can. It's a beautiful little building. There's wood fixtures. It's got a really, really wonderful ceiling. It's a very, very great atmosphere, and they can open up the fire doors and you can drink with the sweet smell of evening air in the building as well. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And you can also go look at the Fire Museum. So
28-foot long picnic table.
28-foot long picnic table.
Pretty unique, And we do have outdoor seating in the back, which was a big attraction for that building as well, to have a little patio area in the back.
Absolutely. So I guess here's a question for you. How has your studies as an economics professor helped you to start a business? Because the sort of young hipster crowd is certainly not the largest demographic in Grande. So if you were starting a business like this in Portland, you would certainly be at much less of a disadvantage than starting it in Grande, Oregon, which the mainstream culture probably would. And you might disagree with me. The mainstream culture doesn't go to pubs and craft beer locations quite as much. Would you say that's true?
I would actually disagree with that.
Perfect. Okay.
Brew pubs are becoming more mainstream. So you really actually, the major demographic for brew pubs is people that are from 25 all the way up to 55 and plus at times. There's a huge beer tourism culture that is developing, which we're relying on a lot.
That is true, yeah.
So we're not relying just on people from Grande coming here, or to Side A, but also we're working really hard to draw people off the freeway to come downtown. So I think it's a really nice economic development piece that we hopefully are providing to bring people downtown, and after they have a meal, hopefully they walk around town a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is nice. So we're getting good reviews on Yelp and Google and these places too, and we're really focused on providing an excellent experience. That way, when people do visit, they leave good reviews, and then that feeds into more people when they're near town looking us up.
Sure.
You're doing a Google search on that. So.
Now, is this all time-tried theory, like economics theory, or is there an element?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like or is there an element of creativity where Scott McConnell's taken some of his studies and been like, well, this would kind of be an interesting way of twisting this, and kind of like, how much does your professorship and your studies in economics touch this? That
I mean, it's helped to teach finance. I mean, economics is really more about understanding people and their motivations. So,
that's interesting.
It's not really just about business. A lot of people confuse economics with business, but economics is really the foundation that underlies business more, and why do people do what they do? What is, looking at things like consumer behavior and demand theory and all this kind of stuff. Understanding that people may surprise you at times, as to what they choose to purchase. So how much theory actually works its way? I mean, it's always in the back of my mind. I can't say it doesn't influence, but at the same time, it's not like I'm reading out of a textbook going, okay, now we need to do this, because
there's no
on page 158,
plan.
There's a diagram. So there's nothing like that. But what economics does as a discipline is really teaches you to think analytically and creatively, which a lot of people don't associate economics with creative thinking, but there's a lot of creative thinking.
Einstein said that the single most important thing to science was creativity.
Yeah.
So I feel like that
Sure.
axiom could also apply to economics.
It does, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some of the world's best economists were very creative individuals, definitely.
Very cool.
So, to get back to the Side A question, we decided to, there was an opening in this town for a brew pub. Nobody was doing it yet, and we decided the firehouse was a perfect building for a lot of reasons, and primarily it's a centrally located building. It's right downtown. Many folks can walk there, walk home, which is always an advantage when you're serving alcohol.
That's very, very true.
Parking's not really much of an issue, which is great, and we just like the room. So my partners, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, really enjoyed seeing the building as well, and we all shared the same vision. So
cool, very cool. Yeah. So you could talk a little bit about your partners. Tell me a little bit about your partners and how they fit into all this.
Sure. So we're childhood friends, which a lot of people don't know. We all grew up together, went to middle school and high school together, part of the same friend group, and we all found our way out to Portland together when we were in our early 20s. We decided to take an adventure and go out to Portland.
Which is always an adventure.
Yes, an adventure, especially when you're coming from Michigan.
Yeah.
So we grew up in northern Michigan in a town about the size of Grande, and we decided to take a big adventure and move out to Portland, and we did. And we spent our 20s there, which is a good time to spend in Portland.
Yeah. Of all the different, decades you could spend, the 20s are probably your best bet.
When you're okay living with 6 other people.
Spending your 90s in Portland is probably not the best. Not the best plan.
No, exactly. So anyway, I then went in 2008. So this was 2000 to 2008. 2008, I went to grad school in Kansas City. Nick Fairbanks moved back to Michigan and had already started brewing both in Bend at Silver Moon Brewing. That's kind of where he got his start. He went to Oregon State and did the fermentation. Well, it wasn't called Fermentation Sciences program at that time. It was called a Food Sciences program, but he kind of geared it toward beer production. And so he kind of made his own degree through that program. So he learned beer brewing, and then he then went to Schlafly in St. Louis, up to Fletcher Street Brewing in northern Michigan, and then he landed at a place called Shorts Brewing over in Elk Rapids, Michigan. And at Shorts, he did many different things. He did some brewing, but also he did a lot of the maintenance on the equipment, which is essential to running a brewery.
Absolutely.
Things are always breaking down, so it's really nice that Nick knows how to fix that stuff quickly. Yeah, exactly. So then Travis Hansen, my third partner, jumped on board last summer. He had worked at Widmer Brothers in Portland, very large scale creative kitchen, and he managed that kitchen as the head chef. And so he jumped aboard, and we decided, the three of us were going to go at this and do it. And we drummed up some local investors, which was great. So there's a lot of local support for this.
Yeah, I know a lot of the ingredients in Side A Brewing are local. They're locally sourced. So that's a really cool aspect an element in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we strive for.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And then, we just opened the doors, and we're just very happy that the community has embraced us the way they have, and it's been very exciting.
So let's talk a little bit about beer. Why beer? Was it just that there was an opening in the Grande, or are you yourself a beer lover, beer connoisseur?
I mean, I enjoy craft beer. I wouldn't say I'm some sort of expert on craft beer. That's Nick, that's his category. But I've always enjoyed it, and enjoyed the different, flavors and things, and enjoyed making my trips down to Barley Browns and Prodigal Son and Terminal Gravity as much as everyone else around here.
There's quite a few little brew pubs going on in Eastern Oregon.
And what we hope to do regarding the beer is to really, if we can pull off a successful business, which is what we're trying to do, obviously, I think we will provide that hub between Baker City, Pendleton, and Enterprise, where we have 4 strong breweries, hopefully, if we hold up our end of the bargain.
So somebody could ideally, go to Pendleton one day, come to LeGrande one day, go to Enterprise, then come back to LeGrande, then go to Baker, and then come back to LeGrande.
Yeah. And actually, it'd be a very attractive weekend for someone from Boise or Portland. Yeah. Whereas in the past, without us being here, you stop in Baker, you can obviously spend the whole weekend in Baker, which is fine. But if you want to visit the other breweries, it's quite a jaunt until you get to the So I feel like hopefully we can create a nice craft beer region. You could almost have like a beer
circle, a beer like a little. What do they call it? Beer trail. Sure. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
a beer trail?
Absolutely.
Like in the movie, that Simon Pegg movie, The End of the World.
End of the World.
The End of the World.
Pub at the end, was a pub?
Pub at the End of the World, or something like that. Yeah. I mean, you should probably have less, aliens.
Right. Less aliens would be
just,
good.
I'm not
always
a business major, but
always a good rule to follow. Less aliens.
Less aliens, the more. Yeah. Unless the aliens make really good beer, then there would be more.
You never know. Yeah, absolutely. So,
cool. So that being said, what is the future of Side? I mean, you guys every time I jog by, you guys always have a lot of people there, especially on the weekends, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It seems like there's a lot going on. Where are you trying to take this future? Are you just kind of trying to keep doing the same thing you've been doing, or do you have a new direction you're trying to move? What's the future?
Yeah, well, the goal up to this point and moving forward to the near future at least is just to continue to have a vibrant place that LeGrande can call its own. That's exciting. Hopefully, what we would like to do is focus a little bit more. I mean, we've rolled out 4 beers now. We have our 5th coming actually this week.
Oh, cool.
So we'll have 5 beers of our own on tap. And then, maybe doing some local distribution on our own, just out of the van sort of stuff. Doing some local festivals, local events, if anyone desires that. We just bought a refrigerated trailer so we can wheel that thing around and serve beer.
Well, that's cool.
Which is neat, yeah. So yeah, just really, the beer industry is all about, at this point, it's very competitive at the distribution level. Like to get on Safeway's shelves or something like that's very difficult.
Yeah.
So really where the market is really a regional thing. So if you can capture your region and say, we are a big part of this beer region, and I'm hoping that Eastern Oregon becomes that sort of a beer region that it's on people's radar from Portland, or for the way that a wine like Walla Walla wine.
Yeah, Walla Walla wine.
Yeah, it's like we want to go there to visit not one winery but many, and so hopefully we can build that, here in Eastern Oregon. And I think obviously with Barley Browns doing the incredible work they've done, Terminal Gravity putting the whole thing on the map, and Prodigal Son creating a great place as well. I think they've definitely paved the way for us, and if we can hold up our end of the bargain, I think we can create a really nice beer region, which would be nice, which would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, I'm not a beer drinker, but if you guys ever come up with a beer trail, just for posterity's sake, I'll go on it.
Very nice. We can make some cider for you.
We can make some cider for me. That would be perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Scott. I really appreciate you coming in and chatting.
No problem.
And thank you, LeGrande Alive, for tuning in. This has been Coffee with Will and Scott McConnell, brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Grand Ronde Hospital, anythingtodigital.com, EONI, and Brite Dentistry. Please make sure to get into those businesses and frequent them. They do a lot to keep these videos coming to you. If you are ever in the market for any of those services, furniture, medicine, anybody, any of those services that I just mentioned, get in there and do it. We need their help, and we really want to give them some good business. So please like and share the video, and tune into LaGrandeLive.tv for more local content. I'm Will Butman.